So as you can see from the list of activities, we have the next activity of designing reports, and the first report that we need to design is website traffic by device and sources. So this will be our first report that we need to design. And let me show you the structure of that report. So this should be the structure of our report. So in this report, there are different visuals that we have used. We are going to use all these visuals in this report, and or in other words, I can say we will design all these visuals in our report as well. We will understand how we can color code these values. So all this we will learn when we are going to design this website traffic by device sources. So let me copy this particular name of this report, and we will come to our empty pbix file. Let's come on to this our pbix file. So for in this particular pbix file, as you can see, there are no reports present. So we will start from scratch and design our first report. So let me rename this page one as the name of first report, that is website traffic by device and sources. This should be the name of our first report. And here we will start adding the different visuals. But before that, let me explain you. We have this design template already handy with us. That's great, because using this design template, we are going to understand like what should be the values of different properties of these visuals that we are going to follow. In real world projects, your client will provide these type of design templates, and for every client these templates might be different. So every time when we are designing our report or dashboards, we are going to follow these design templates only. We should not put values in a random manner. Always follow a design template. In for this project, I have created a dummy design template for you, just to showcase you which just to give you the look and feel of the different values of these visuals that we are going to add in this report. So this is the complete design document that contains all the visuals that we are going to use in different reports. So this is the long document. There are different visuals present in this report. I will share this design template with you as well. You should also understand this, and in case of any doubt, you can ask me in the comment section. So first we will start with our header. That should be a shape and it should be a rounded rectangle. But before that, we need to format our page. So we have these canvases. So this is our canvas. Let me show you. This is our canvas. And now what we need to do, we need to format your report page. You need to click this option, and there are several different options present under this, like page information, canvas settings, canvas background. So here, this is canvas settings. So canvas settings, under this canvas settings, you can see type as 16:9. So this is 16 into 9, 16 width, 9 height. So this is mentioned as like this, but we need to provide the custom values here. And those custom values are present here. So 1600 by 1800. So 1600 width and 1800 height we need to provide here. And vertical alignment should be middle. So it should be 800, and it should be width should be 1600, and vertical alignment should be middle, something like this. So you can see the size of this canvas now changed. Now the canvas setting is done. For the canvas background, what we need to do, we need to import our template. So in the beginning, I have mentioned different templates we have already designed for this particular project. And for website traffic by device and sources, for this particular report, we have a dedicated template already present. We need to use that particular template. So we need to browse the template, and under this website traffic analysis, I will share these templates with you as well. So we have this template for website traffic and sources. We are going to use this template. But now, as you can see, we have imported that template, but still nothing is visible on this canvas. So what is the issue? The issue is the transparency is 100%. We need to reduce this transparency as 0%. Now you can see that our template is visible, but still the size of this template is not basically accurate with our canvas size. So for that, because our canvas size is this, but here this particular template is stretching. So we need to make sure that it should fit with our canvas settings. Once you will click on this fit, it will fit with our canvas settings that we have done here. 800 by 1600. So I think we are good to go with this. We can also mention the wallpaper color as black to make sure that everything should be in sync. As you can see here, the wallpaper is now black as well. So I think for this we are good to go ahead. Later on we will change the values of this template as well to align with this. We can also change the values, but for now we can skip these things. So now we have the template incorporated. We have adjusted the size of the template as per the canvas settings, and we have also changed the background color of wallpaper as black. So it will look like this. Now the next task is to import or to put the visuals inside the dedicated section. So as you can see here, there are dedicated sections inside this template. We need to make sure that all the visuals we need to place in these sections itself. There are dedicated sections. We need to put the visuals again in these sections only. First, we need to mention the before that. First, we need to mention the report name. That is first we need to mention our project name, that is website traffic analytics. For that we need to go. We are going to use rounded rectangle shape with rounded corners. So here let's come with rounded rectangle shape. So where we will find that shape? We will find that shape here in the insert section. We will go and we will find the add shape to the report. This click this icon, or if I can, here you can see there is a shape. This is the icon. We just need to incorporate rounded rectangle. Okay. And Arial 20 will be the text size. Okay. So for that, rounded corners 25, rotation not required, style. So I think we need to make it transparent. Yes. Okay. And for text, we have made the fill off as well. Yes, fill off means we can make it a transparency as 100%, and borders not required. For text, let me keep it as on and mention it as Arial. Size will be 20 and it should be center aligned itself, and the name will be website traffic analytics. This should be the name of the project, website traffic analytics, and we can make it as bold as well. This. Okay, I think this is fine. So we have mentioned the header of this particular project. You can also increase the size if you think that the size is small. We can also increase the font size. So rather than 20, we can make it as 30 as well. Okay, now it is looking better. Yes, so 30 is looking better. So I have updated the text size. I will update this design document as well. 30 is looking fine. Now we have the header of this project present. We will start the activity of adding the visuals. So the first visual that we are going to add is table. So we are going to add this visual, that is table visual, and to stretch like this. Okay, and now we will start adding the columns inside this table. So the first column, as we can see from the design template, the first column will be website traffic sources, second will be total session, then average session, and total page views. So website traffic sources we are able to find in source lookup table. So website traffic sources. Then from measures table, we will add total session duration, average session duration, and total page views measures inside this table. Now we have added all the respective columns that are required to be present in this table. Now we need to adjust the properties to make it more prettier. So we need to follow our design template. So table style set minimal, grid, row padding 7, So here we will use minimal, and we have row padding as 7. So row padding as 7. Perfect. And then values, Arial 12, go to the values, and here we will mention as Arial and 12. Perfect. Then we have, and values we need to make bold as well. Then we have a column header, again Arial 12, center align, column header, Arial 12, bold, center align. Perfect. And then specific column header, total values. Okay, now one more thing that we need to do, go to this specific column. Let me stretch it here. Okay, now it is perfectly visible to you. Go to this specific column option, and from this option you need to select the specific column. So you can also tweak the values of the columns from here. So we will first consider total session duration, header, total, everything should be center aligned. Perfect. Then average session duration, header, total, values all should be center aligned. Similarly, total page views, header, total, and value should be center aligned. So this is specific column option. You can perform the respective changes. So there is also a tooltip mentioning settings for specific columns will override the settings in the data values. So these values will get override. Now we have all these things performed. Next thing is cell align elements, background color gradient based on total session duration. So on the basis of total session duration, we will change the colors of this. For every session duration, this total page view is this. Okay. Go to the now cell elements. Now we need to go to the cell elements. You can also explore these properties on your own as well. There are several properties. Now we can go to cell elements and we will change the background color. As you can see here, we can change the background color. This is the property that we need to tweak, and for minimum value we need to add this. So background color we need to on it. Perfect. And the gradient we are going to follow on the basis of first column is put it off. We need to select first column is total session duration. So for total session duration we need to change the colors. So gradient already come. We need to add a middle color, and for lowest value we need to mention this, and again go to here, and for middle value we will select this. Perfect. And for maximum value we are going to select this hex code. So these are hex codes for different colors that we are mentioning here. And once again check again this thing that we are using formatted style as gradient, and the field value, the gradient is based on the total session duration field value. So as you can see here, this is a session duration, and now the values get changed. So let me push it slightly. Okay, and okay. I'm just adjusting the column width so that all values will be visible in an appropriate manner. Okay, I think now all the values are visible. Perfect. Perfect. So, okay, perfect. So we have put the gradient inside the session duration column, and this gradient is based on the values of total session duration. So higher the values, the color is changing to green, and lower the values, the color is changing to red, and for middle values the color is orange and yellow. So we are following this particular background color, or in other words I can say we are following this gradient as the background color here. Similar thing we need to perform for every session duration and total page views as well. So for here what we need to do, we need to select the average session duration. We just need to click on this toggle icon against the background color, make it on, and now set the color. So all automatically it will select the average session duration, because here we have selected series as average session duration. So average session duration will automatically come under this option. What field should we base this on? Now we need to put the colors on. So highest value should be green, then the lowest value should be middle value, I mean to say it should be this, and minimum value should be. And the beauty of Power BI is that it automatically adjusts the colors. If there are multiple values, it automatically adjusts the colors. So as you can see here, this will be the total gradient. So Power BI will pick the colors from this total gradient. If I can show you here, this is the total gradient. So for lowest value, this will be the color. For highest value, this will be the color. And for rest of the values, it will pick the colors from this entire gradient. This is the beauty of Power BI. Let me tell you. So we need to click on OK. Now the value colors are also changed for this. Same thing we need to follow for total page views as well. So we need to select this total page views, toggle this icon to on, click on this FX icon, conditional formatting icon for background color. As you can see here, it is based on total page views only. Gradient format style is already selected. We need to change the colors only. So for minimum value, we have already selected, and for maximum, for middle value, this is the value. Let me copy paste here, and for highest value, this is it. Okay, and we can just okay it. As you can see here, all the values are now, all the background colors are coming in gradient on the basis of the values present inside that column. It is not based on other column. It means total page views gradient color is based on total page views only. It is not based on every session duration. It is based on total page views columns values only. And similar is the case with average session duration column and total session duration column. Moving further, we have changed this. Now we need to add the title. Title should be Arial 11 bold. Arial should be the font, and 11 will be the size of that font, and we need to make that as bold and left aligned. So session duration and page views by traffic sources, they should be the header. So similar thing, we need to follow this. In general section, go to title, click on this, toggle this icon to on. Title, we need to provide session duration and page views by traffic sources. Okay, and we need to make it as Arial 11. Okay, and bold as well. We need to make it as bold, so bold. Okay, text tab not required. It should be left aligned. Okay, it is left aligned only. And we can also change the background color as black for this, just to separate it, and text color as white, something like this. So it will be more visible and separate out from the column headers. Otherwise it should get mixed up with the column headers. Just to avoid that thing, I have changed the background of the title to black and the text to white. I will going to update that property in the design template as well. So this will be our first visual. Now on the similar lines, we are going to create one more table visual like this. There is one more table visual, session duration and page views by device type. Currently we are analyzing on the basis of traffic sources. As you can see here, these are the traffic sources: email, organic, other paid. These are the traffic sources. How we are attracting the traffic to our website, whether email, through any email campaign, through organically, through any paid campaigns, or any referral programs. How we are attracting the traffic to our website, we have mentioned as different traffic sources. Now we need to just copy paste this. We just need to duplicate this and place it here, and we need to add or replace this website traffic sources from device type. So as you can see here, we need to replace it with the device type like laptop, tablet, desktop. So here we will go device types and replace it with the device type. Okay, and close this website traffic sources. Just close this. So as you can see here, just need to update the title as well. Always in hurry, we used to skip these things. So need to make sure that we have updated the title. Now we have the device type. Okay. So now the values are reflecting for the different devices. And one more thing, as we have skipped earlier, so the total session duration, this is coming in decimal places of two decimal places. So we can follow the same thing as well here. So first for traffic sources table, what we need to do, we just need to go to specific column and to select the total session duration and two decimal places. Okay. Now it is better. Similar thing you need to follow here for two decimals. Okay. I think now the values will resemble like this. Laptop 29.03, yes. Desktop 29.30, yes. Everything is fine. Yes. So now we have created our two important visuals or two important table visuals. One table that is totally dedicated to identify total session duration, average session duration, and total page views by different traffic sources. And one table is dedicated to identify these things: total session duration, average session, and total page views against different device types. So these type of analysis are very common in Power BI projects. Generally, we think that table visuals are not very important, but to showcase the things in when we are crunching the number, these table visuals are very handy thing. So I would recommend go with this, try this different or try to design different table visuals on your own as well, and just play around with the properties of these table visuals. Then only you will be able to understand these things in detail. Now we will start designing the next visual of this report. Now before designing rest of the visuals pertaining to this report, we first need to verify the data. And for that we are going to use MySQL. So what we need to do, we need to write the SQL query and then verify the data, that whether the data that is appearing in MySQL is same as that appearing in these visuals. So we need to perform that particular activity. So for that, I have MySQL workbench already installed, and I'm going to use MySQL workbench for writing the SQL query. So my SQL query is already present here. Let me briefly explain you this particular query. So this query is pretty much straightforward. So in this query, what we have done, we have mentioned two tables. One is website traffic data, that is our fact table. This is our fact table. And the second table, that is device lookup. This is our dimension table. So what we are doing, we have established the relationship. We have established the relationship between fact table and dimension table using inner join. So this we have done. Then what we are doing, we are picking device type, this parameter, from our dimension table, and we are aggregating certain numerical columns that are present in our fact table. So the first column we are performing summation over that column is session duration. We are doing summation and we are dividing that value from 3600 to calculate the output in hours, as you can see from here. Similarly, we are doing the average over the session duration, dividing the values by 3600 so that output will come in hours. And we are calculating summation of page views per session also, so that we can finally come out with the figure of total page views. So these three activities we are performing: summation over session duration, average session duration, and summation of page views per session. So these three activities we are performing. and let's see what's the output is coming. Also, one important thing, because we are doing aggregation, group by is required here, so we are doing group by over this device type column. So this is very important. Next, let's see the output of this query. So what we will do, we will run this. Okay, so this is the output that is coming. So let's verify this output with the output that is appearing in our Power BI report file. So here we have the tablet device type and total session duration is 31.10 hours. So let me check this with tablet here. There's the device types. Okay, 30 tablet 31.10. This figure is coming perfect. And one more important thing, I'm checking this data randomly. I'm not going to check each and every figure. I'm doing the random check so that we can get a fair bit of idea that whether the data is coming accurate or not. So for laptop, let me check the average session duration. So for laptop, let me check average session duration. Laptop, it is 0.1935 because we are taking up to two decimal places. So it will appear as 0.19 in our Power BI file. So I think it is for laptop, it is appearing as 0.19 only. Let me check. For laptop, it is appearing as 0.19. And let me check for desktop, total page views as 550. So desktop, for desktop, total page views are coming as 550 only. So I think data is pretty much accurate. We have checked that data is coming perfectly fine for session duration and page views visual. Now let's check the data for other visual that we have designed. So other visual that we have designed is related to session duration and page views pertaining to different traffic sources. So let's verify the data for this as well. So query is also ready for that. Let me zoom it a bit. So now this query is pretty much similar to the query that we have discussed earlier. The only difference is earlier we are making join, earlier we are making or we are establishing a relationship between a fact table that was website traffic data. So here this table is exactly the same, but the dimension table we were earlier using device lookup, but now we are using source lookup. That is the difference. Earlier we were using device lookup, now we are using source lookup. So that is the only difference. And why that difference is coming and why we picked source lookup dimension table, because we want source type in our select query. That is why we picked this dimension table. And don't forget this thing, because we are performing the aggregation operations over session duration and page views per session, we need to use source type in our group by clause as well. So this is very important thing. We need not to skip this particular part. And now let's check the output of this query. So let me run this. Okay, I think yes. So now we have this different source type mentioned here. So for email, total session duration is coming as 20.25. So for email it is coming as 20.25 because it is rounded to two places of decimal. That is why the rest of the zeros are not visible. And let me check for organic website traffic source and what is the value for every session duration. It is 0.20. Let me check here. For organic it is 0.20. And let me check for referral. What is the value for total page views? It is appearing as 356. So for referral, let me check here. For referral, it is appearing as 356. Also for social, it is coming as 463. Let me check that as well. For social, it is coming as 463. So data is coming like perfectly fine. Data is accurate. And the purpose of checking the data or counter verifying or verifying the data with the MySQL is just to make sure that the values that are appearing inside Power BI visual must be accurate. Must be accurate. It should not be different from the data that appeared here. So we need to make sure the data that is coming in Power BI, it should be same as the data that is coming from MySQL query. So that is our motto. for designing the SQL queries, and we are just verifying that data. So I hope you will get a fair bit of idea why we have written these queries and what was our purpose for writing these, so that you can see that in real world also, let me tell you in this way, in real world also you need to follow these type of practices so that you will get a fair bit of idea that the data that is appearing on our visual is perfectly fine. So I hope you will replicate these type of practices in your daily work as well. Now moving further, as we have verified our data, now our next task is to design rest of the visuals. So now let me show you our data analytical report once again to highlight the KPIs. So this is our data analytical report. So this report I have shown you in the beginning of this video. So let me go to the key metrics part. So these are some of the key metrics pertaining to different reports. So right now we are designing our website traffic by device and sources, this particular report. So in this report, we have already designed, let me show you this. So we have already designed session duration by page views and device type. For this particular metric, we have already designed our visual, that is the table visual we have already designed. Similarly, we have designed our visual for session duration and page views traffic source. For this as well, we have already designed our visual. So next, the visuals that we are going to design are related to bounce rate by content segment, bounce rate by device type, and bounce rate by website traffic. So for these three important metrics, we are going to design the visuals, and we will design these visuals in one go. So because the parameters, the important parameter is bounce rate, and we are going to analyze bounce rate by different dimension angles like content segment, device type, and website traffic. So let's start designing those visuals. So now first visual that we are going to design is related to bounce rate by device type, and we are going to use clustered bar chart for this. So what we need to do, bounce rate by device type. So what we need to do, we need to pull our clustered bar chart. So this is our clustered bar chart. We need to pull this. Let me check the position of this particular visual from our original report. So let me check that. Okay, it will come here. So we will also place this here in this particular segment of the template, as there are dedicated section for each visual. So this visual will come here. This is our clustered bar chart. And now we need to pull the bounce rate. This particular thing we need to pull here on the x-axis. Okay. So now this is the numerical thing, that bounce rate that is coming, but we need to analyze this numerical thing. As in the beginning of this video I have told you that we are going to analyze the facts of the fact table along with a specific dimension. Now we need to analyze this particular fact according to a particular dimension, and the dimension that we are going to use is, that is device types. So now we are able to see the bounce rates for different device types like desktop, laptop, mobile, tablet, and others. Like desktop, laptop, mobile, tablet, and others, we are able to see the bounce rate. And now we need to just make the changes pertaining to UI of this visual. So for data labels, we need to position inside center values Arial 9 board, data labels. Now as you can see here, data labels are appearing here. I think these labels are coming not in percentage terms. So let me change this. Okay, now they are coming in percentage terms. Earlier it was not. So we need to make sure that we have to keep the formatting of this bounce rate as percentage only. Just make sure this. We need to select the percentage here. Okay. And the values should be Arial and 9, and I think they are Arial 9 bold. Arial 9 and 4, and these values should be of white color because we are going to remove the background. This is fine. Should be. I think we have mistakenly mentioned it as inside center. It is outside end only. Let me change it. Okay. So this is the position for bounce for our data labels. And next, let me see y-axis values. Okay. X-axis we are going to off these because we have already added the data labels. Now x-axis values and titles are not required. Y-axis we will switch off the title and need to keep the values as area. Also, one thing that we need to do in the beginning itself that we actually forgot, we need to remove the background. Also, in other terms, we can say we can make the transparency as 100% for this background. So for that, what we need to do, we need to go on this general section, click on this effects, and then in the transparency, just pull it over to 100%. Okay. Now the whatever changes we are doing, like making the font as white, so all these things are appearing. Before that, it was not appearing because the background was in white color. White color. So I hope you understand this particular point. Header icons are not required. Title we will give in few minutes. So now, I think we have added the values for y-axis, Arial 9 board. I think it is we are good here. Let me check. So that is fine. Okay, we need to give border as well of white color, and title must be instead, right? First, and title will be of 11 in bold left align. First, let me give the title. It's 11 bold left align. Text color should be white. Okay, this is fine. And we need to add the border for these bars as well. As you can see here, these are blue bars. We need to give the border as well. For bars, we will select border as on, and 2 pixel of width, and border should be of white. Okay, now they are appearing fine. The only thing that is pending is now giving the color gradient for these bars on the basis of the bounce rate value. On the basis of the gradient color should be on the basis of the bounce rate value, and minimum color should be this. We select this. So in bars, go to this colors, and this is our conditional formatting for the color. Need to select this. Gradient is now based on bounce rate. For lowest value, we will get this. Okay, and for middle value, let me select this. Okay, and for highest value, you need to take this. So now, as you can see here, for lowest value, we have mentioned this color, for middle value this, and for highest value this color. So all the colors we have added here. So the lower value will take this particular color, highest value will take this particular, and rest of the values will take the color from this entire gradient. Okay, and now you can see the values are appearing, and we need to move this as well. Legend. Okay, now legend we have put it off. So now our this visual is pretty much handy. We are able to see the bounce rate for different type of devices like desktop, laptop, mobile, tablet. There are the different bounce rate values are appearing here. Later on, we will also verify the data from the MySQL query as well. But for now, you can understand that these values are appearing, and the highest bounce rate is for desktop and the lowest bounce rate will be for other devices. And for rest of the devices like laptop, it is 10%, for mobile it is 9.09, and for tablet it's like 8.59%. So these are the respective values of bounce rates for different devices. Now the next visual that we are going to design is our clustered column chart for website bounce rate by different website traffic sources. So we just need to copy this here, okay, and change it to this. Okay, this is clustered column chart. Perfect. And here in place of device type, we need to put the website traffic sources, and we need to close this. Okay. Now the values are coming for different traffic sources. The values are coming as 12.28. So these values of bounce rates are coming according to different website traffic sources, and we need to first update the title and the gradient. And because we have used rest of the properties, so we have saved our time as well here. The only thing that we need to update is the title and the color gradient. Let's jump onto here and this first update the title. Okay, so title is updated now, and then we have to update the color gradient. So we have chosen different colors for this just to differentiate the visuals appearance, so that we can clearly see, or our customer will clearly see what is the trend for bounce rate when we are analyzing bounce rate against website traffic source, and what is the trend when we are analyzing our bounce rate against the different device types. For minimum this color, let me come here and in the visual just click on columns. Earlier we were using bars because they were bars, now we are using columns. So in fx we need to change the color as this. For middle value we need to put this, and for maximum value we need to put this and click on OK. Now all the values are appearing in the proper gradient color. So we have successfully designed our second visual related to bounce rate as well. And don't forget to save this physics file that we are going to design. Is basically we need to analyze the bounce rate on the basis of different web browsers, and to analyze that we are going to use our funnel chart. So let me add funnel chart for this. So we have added funnel chart successfully, and now we need to add the respective labels. So here we are going to analyze bounce rate. So here we are adding values bounce rate, and we are analyzing on the basis of different browsers. So push this. Okay, so on the basis of different browsers, so here we are going to add website traffic analytics device lookup dimension table, and here we are able to find device browser. So we are going to add this. As you can see here, we have successfully created our new visual, which is a funnel chart in which we are analyzing bounce rate for different device browsers. So for ER2, the bounce rate is 10.84%. For ER3, it is 9.66%. For ER4, 9.29%. And these are some random names of browsers. I'm avoiding to write the actual browsers names just to avoid any conflict. So that is why I have mentioned the hypothetical names of browser ER2, ER3. Just assume that these are the browsers our user is using to browse our website. So ER2, the bounce for ER2, the bounce rate is 10.84%, and ER1 it is minimum as 8.33%. Now, the important thing is, first of all, I need to tell you like why we use funnel charts. So it is very important to understand why we generally use funnel charts. So if I tell you, funnel charts are very important charts to analyze connected stages, to analyze connected stages. And for that, let me give you one example of e-commerce website. So in e-commerce website, there are several users who actually landed on the website. Let's suppose 100 users landed on the website. These are the landed users. Out of these 100, let's suppose 80 viewed different products. 80 users viewed different products. Out of those 80, 60 users actually added the products in their cart, added products in cart, and only let's suppose 25 users actually checked out and complete the purchase. So here, as you can see, we can show this type of data connected stages using our funnel chart. So for analyzing this type of data, we can say that we will use our funnel charts. And one more important characteristic of funnel chart is to identify the bottlenecks. So as you can see here, to identify the bottlenecks, so as you can see here, there is a bottleneck here. Here there is not that much bottleneck, but here there is a bottleneck because suddenly the sharp in the numbers, you can see there is a sharp decrease in the numbers, and why this bottleneck is happening, we need to analyze this. So for analyzing the bottlenecks at each and every stage, these all stages are connected. Users generally landed on the website. Some users viewed different products. Some of the users, after reviewing or viewing different products, added products in their cart and finally checked out and purchased the same products. So this is the connecting stages. Connecting stages. Now, out of these connected stages, we need to identify where the bottleneck is happening, where the numbers are suddenly falling, and as we can see here, the numbers are suddenly falling in this stage where the items are added in the cart but not purchased. So we need to analyze why this is happening, what are the reasons why consumers are not, after adding products in their cart, are not buying the products. So this is the area where funnel charts are frequently used. In our context, although we are not using our funnel chart for this connecting stages, but we can also use our funnel chart for analyzing the bounce rate on the basis of different browsers. Or in other words, I can say, let's suppose we have, let me show you here. So we have ER2S browser, and let's suppose we are considering the bounce rate as 100% for this. This we are setting as a benchmark. So ER3 is 89.1%, 89.1% bounce rate in comparison to ER2. Similarly, this ER4 has 85.69 percentage of bounce rate in comparison to ER2 and 96.17 percentage of bounce rate in comparison to ER3. Similar is the case. Let's go with ER1. So for ER1, 76.85% bounce rate in comparison to ER2 and 89.68 percentage bounce rate in comparison to ER4. So I need to showcase this thing to you, percentage of first and percentage of previous. So let's suppose this is our funnel chart. There is percentage of first and percentage of previous. So percentage of first is analyzing on the basis of top element. We are considering this top element as 100% and we are analyzing rest of the elements on the basis of this. So this is percentage of first, and percentage of previous is analyzing on the basis of previous element. Like we are analyzing this element on the basis of this. We are analyzing this element on the basis of this. So this is percentage of previous. So I hope I am able to explain you this particular thing. And in case you have any doubt related to the funnel chart, you can just share your questions in the comment section. I will try to answer. Now the next thing is just to beautify this particular visual as per the design layout. So we have the design sheet already handy with us, and first of all we need to change the color code, so we will do the same. So here let me select this, go to the visualization pane. In colors we need to do FX, we are using, just make sure that format style should be gradient and field it should be based on bounce rate. So the lowest value color should be, this is the hex code for that, and this for minimum, this is for center. So for middle value, let me add this middle color, and here we need to mention this, and maximum value should be, this should be our maximum values. Okay, and once we do okay, this will appear like this. Now the rest of the things that we need to do, first of all, in effects, we need to make the transparency as 100%. Okay, and we didn't require this header icons on visual tab. Next, go to data labels. Data labels should be inside center only. Label contains data value, Arial and 9 and bold. Label content should be data value, and it should be Arial, 9 and bold, and color should be blue. Okay, and category labels, they should also be Arial, white color, 9 and bold. These are the category labels. And finally, conversion rate, it should also be Arial 9 and bold. Yes. So category labels are these, and these are the conversion rate. These are basically conversion rate labels. So these are conversion rate labels, as you can see here. So all we have mentioned in white color. So I hope, yes, the only thing is pending is mentioning the title. So what we will do, go to this general section, click on title, put it here, and it should be Arial. Arial 11 in bold, so it should be Arial 11 bold, left align, color should be white. Okay, so yes, now we have created this visual successfully, and we have accommodated all the properties that are mentioned in our design layout. And the final visual or the chart that we need to design is, we need to create one tree map. So this is our tree map, and we are going to update the properties of this tree map like this. So first of all, let me add the data, and here we are going to analyze our bounce rate by different content segments. I will explain what this content segment is all about. So first, let me add tree map here. So this is our tree map. We have added this. Add the bounce rate in the value section and the content segment. Okay, perfect. Let me close this and close this. Okay, so this is our bounce rate by content segments. Now, important thing here is why we use tree maps. Why we use tree maps? So tree maps are used to depict hierarchical relationship. To depict hierarchical relationship. What type of hierarchical relationship we can depict using tree map? So let me give you one real world scenario. So let's suppose we are going to analyze revenue on the basis of product category and product subcategory. We are going to analyze revenue on the basis of product category and subcategory. So what we can do, this type of hierarchical relationship we can showcase like this. So on these bigger rectangles we can show product categories, and under these we can show specific subcategories. And for color code, what we can do, we can perform the color coding on the basis of revenue. So let's suppose we are giving green color, so darker green will be the higher revenue for that subcategory or category, and lower green, less green color should be the categories where the revenue is less. So this type of analysis we can perform easily using tree maps. Now let's jump onto the scenario that we are using here in our tree map. So in our tree map, we have designed tree map to analyze bounce rate by content segment. So here there are different content segments like personal, education, travel, tourism, gaming, and business. And these rectangles, these are showing what is the overall bounce rate pertaining to that content segment. It means, let's suppose 100 users explore the education content. So out of that 100, what is the overall bounce rate? Let's suppose 20 users bounces without visiting further without exploring further education content. So in that manner, we can say the bounce rate for this particular education content segment. Similar is the case for travel and tourism, gaming, how many users are coming and what is the overall bounce rate. So here we are showcasing bounce rate for different content segments like business and gaming. So one thing that we can, let me tell you one thing in detail. So earlier when I was explaining you the product category and subcategory thing, let me increase the size of this visual a bit. Let me increase this. Okay, for now, I want to explain you the property of this detail. So details is the field well. In this field well, let me add device name. So now you can see we have business as our main category, and all these devices through which our user is exploring the content, these devices are acting as a subcategory. So we can perform this type of analysis using tree map. We have the main category, we have the subcategories like this, and we can explore what is the bounce rate for each category and subcategory. Let's suppose for device 22 through which user is exploring the business content, the bounce rate is 25%. Similarly for device 13 it is 20%, 14.29 for device 8. This is important analysis that we can easily perform using tree maps. So for now, to avoid any like details, I have only taken the category as content segment. I'm not going to add the details just to make things simple. So let me remove this and let me take this to the original size only. And we are exploring actually the bounce rate for different content segments. Now we can beautify this particular visual or chart. So we have this design layout already handy with us. So what we can do, we can update the values and color for the data labels, real time board. So we have data labels. We just, it should be 10 aerial board. Okay. And category labels also, it should be 10 bold and white color. So category labels are basically this personal, education, travel and tourism. These are category, and the values are these 13.38. These are values, the bounce rate values to be precise. So now these values are appearing in individual rectangles as well as in the tooltip. And color gradient we need to update. So minimum we are using this. So go to this color effect, select this conditional formatting gradient on the basis of bounce rate only. Add this middle color. So for lowest this is the bounce rate. Okay, and for middle we are this as our bounce rate, and for lower this is the bounce rate. Just okay this. So as you can see here, I told you when I was giving you one real world example of showcasing category and subcategories. So here also, as you can see, the more pink here, the more dark pink the color is, it means the more the bounce rate, and less the color darkness, it means like the orange color we are using here. So it means for gaming content segment, the bounce rate is lowest. As you can see here, it is 4.44%. So this type of information we can fetch from our tree map visual. And also we need to remove toggle off this header icons. In effect, we need to make transparency as 100%. And let's go to the title. For title, we are using Arial. 11 is the size, bold color as white, left aligned, and let me check the left where is here is the bounce rate by content segment. So this should be the title. Okay, text wrapping not allowed. Okay, we don't require this. I think we are good. Go ahead. Okay. So we have successfully designed all the important charts pertaining to our website traffic by device sources report. Now the only thing that we need to create is we need to add two filters. But before that, we need to analyze the or perform the data analysis whether this particular data is coming correct or not. So for that, we need to verify that data using SQL query. So let's open the workbench and just verify the data that is appearing here, whether it's correct or not. So now let's verify the data that is present inside these videos with the actual data in our data warehouse present in MySQL. First, we will go with the bounce rate by device type. So I have already written my query here. So let me run this query. So this is the output. So first, before checking the output, let me explain you the query. So in this query, what we are doing, first of all, in the beginning of the video, I have explained you what is bounce rate. What is bounce rate? So it is the ratio of bounce sessions divided by total sessions. This is our divided by total sessions. Now, for accomplishing our task of identifying the bounce rate, what we are doing, we have written a CTE common table expression and the main query here. So this is the CTE and this is the main query. So this CTE we have written for identifying the total sessions. That is the denominator value. That is the denominator value. And this main query we have written to identify the numerator as well as to perform the ratio calculation. So this query is for that purpose. Now, first of all, we need to understand what is CTE. What is CTE? CTE, as the name stands for, is common table expression. It's a common table expression, and it is basically holds temporary results. And it is basically a temporary result set which we can use further with select statement, with update, insert, etc. So it's a temporary result set. Temporary result set means the calculations that we are doing here or the output or that we derive here, we will use in the main query. Let's understand what this query implies. So first in CTE, as I already explained, we are calculating the denominator. So here what we are doing, we have put our inner join between website traffic data. This is our fact table and device lookup. This is our dimension table on the basis of device key. This is so in dimension table, this is primary key, and in fact table, it is acting as a foreign key. We establish the relationship, and why we are establishing the relationship? We need to identify the count of total sessions, against different device types. So against different device types, we need to identify the total sessions. We need to identify the total sessions. So for that, we are doing all this activity, and we are also doing group by, because here we are using aggregating function, that is count. So here we are grouping by it by a device type. So this is our CTE. Now this CTE output that get generated, we are going to use here. How? In the main query, we are again joining. First of all, the tables that we are using in the main query are first device lookup, our CTE, and our fact table. So additionally, we are going to use CTE here. And through this CTE, we are deriving this total session, the denominator value we are deriving. So for this, we are using CTE and we are making a join on the basis of device types. We are making a join on the basis of device types. That is why I actually took device type in our CDE. So the same thing we are using here. And one additional thing that we are doing, we are putting this clause page views less than 2. This is the additional thing that we are doing. So by using this, we are able to calculate the bounce section. So as I explained earlier, in numerator, but we need to make sure that we can only take bounce sessions. So for that, we have mentioned this less than 2 conditions. And again, we are doing group by on the basis of device type because we are performing the aggregation or we are using the aggregation functions here. So now this is the overall query. And why I explained this query in detail, because rest of the queries are we have designed on the similar lines only. So not much changes are required in rest of the query. Only the dimension attributes like device. Here we are using device type. So in other queries we are using browser type or different website traffic sources. The only change that we are doing that. Otherwise, rest of the things are pretty much same. So now let me remove all these drawings, and here also we can name this as just to make okay. So for tablet, the bounce rate is 8.58%. So this, let me check here. For tablet, it is 8.59. It means it is as it is rounded to two places of decimal. That is why it is coming as 8.59. Otherwise, the values are 8.589. So rounding to two places, it will come as 8.59. Similarly, for desktop, it should come as 11.54. So for desktop, it is coming as 11.54. So the values are coming pretty much in line. Next, we will jump on to analyze the data of bounce rate by website traffic source. So we will go and check whether the output is coming correct or not for this visual. For that, yes, this is the query. So in this query itself, the logic is pretty much same. We have this CTE present. This is the old CTE. This is our CTE, and using this we are calculating the denominator. Okay, and similarly here we have the main query. To this main query we are identifying the bounce sessions. From this where clause we are identifying the bounce sessions, and we are calculating the final ratio of bounce rate. We are calculating the final ratio of bounce rate using this division we are using this, and in denominator we have captured the total sessions that we have calculated from this CP. Now one important thing that I actually skipped in our last query, why we use this max function. There also we have used this max function because otherwise if we will not use this max function, we need to add this CTE1 dot total sessions in our group by as well, because if there will be no aggregated function used before this, we need to mention this column as well in our group by statement. So to avoid that, just to avoid that particular thing, I have used this max. Otherwise, there is no specific reason to use this max aggregate. So I hope I am able to explain this particular point. Now let's run this query. Okay, and here as well, let me mention it as bounce rate. Okay, so different website traffic sources are mentioned here. For email, it is 10.62, rounding to two places of decimal. So for email, it is 10.62. Let's go here. For email, it is 10.62, and for referral, it is 12.28. For referral, it is 12.28. So data is perfectly coming fine for this as well. Moving further, we will analyze the data for bounce rate by different browsers. So let's understand the query for that. So this is the query. Query is written on the similar lines. And here the CTE. This is the CTE. In CTE we are using device browser. So this is the dimension attribute that we have picked because we are going to analyze our bounce rate against the device browser. That is why we picked this column from our dimension table. And in the main query also, we need this device browser, and we need to put this join with our CTE to identify or to use the total sessions in the denominator. That is why we are making the join with our CTE. And let me name this as A. And this where clause indicates that we in numerator we are counting our bound sessions only, and division for bounce rate. Let me get this. Let me run this. Okay. For browser year 2 bounce rate is 10.84. So we can check this. For browser year 2 bounce rate is 10.84, and for year 1 it is 8.33. And for browser year 1 it is 8.3. For year 1 it is 8.33. For year 3 it is 9.66. For year 3 it is 9.66. So all the values are coming fine for bounce rate pertaining to different browsers. Now let's jump on to our final query. So we have written final query for bounce rate by content segment. So this is the query here. Now we have picked the content segment attribute from device lookup dimension, and same column we are going to repeat for main query here as well. This is for calculating the bound session, this where clause, and we have used this total sessions from our CTE for calculating the overall ratio to this division. Friends, one more thing that I want to highlight here is you should practice these tools on your own as well, understand the logic, and in case you have face any difficulties, you just mention those things in comment section. I will try to answer here as well. We are doing implementing the logic in the similar lines. So let me put it as say it. Okay, and when we run this, for personal content segment, bound rate is 13.38. Verified. For personal it is 13.38. For gaming it is 4.44. For gaming it is 4.44. For business it is 11.93. For business it is 11.93. So all the values are coming fine. So we have successfully verified our data using our SQL queries as well. And this is best practice. Now the next important task that we need to perform is adding the drop downs. So we need to add two drop downs. So we need to add two drop downs, one pertaining to device types and other pertaining to source types. So in one drop down, we are going to display the list of different device types, and in other drop down, we are going to display the list of different website traffic sources. Let's add first drop down. So for adding the drop down, we are going to use slicers, and in the style, we are going to change it to drop down. So let's perform that activity. So first, we are going to use slicer here. Okay, and we are going to add value from the device lookup dimension table, device type. Okay, so all the values are reflecting here. And now what we need to do, we need to select this format your visual icon, and under the slicer settings, go to this style drop down and select drop down. And now you can see the values are appearing in drop down. Now the important thing is by default the values are appearing as all. It means that all values are appearing irrespective of the device types that is selected. That it means the data that is reflecting here, it is for all device types. No specific device type is selected. But if we select individual device type from this drop down, the data get changed according to that. So we have selected laptop as device type. So you can see the values that are coming in different charts are as per laptop device type only. But if we will remove this selection, then the data that is reflecting in different charts, it is for all device types. So this thing we need to make sure that we should take care of this. Now we need to adjust the properties for this particular drop down, and for that we need to use our design layout sheet. So style we have changed it to drop down. Now before changing slicer header, values and background, what we need to do, we need to first make it transparent. So we need to make it transparent. For that we need to go to effects, and we need to make transparency as 100%, and icons are not. Under the visual thing, we need to select slicer header, and we need to make it Arial 11 bold and white color, and need to select the text for this. Right. Okay. Now slicer header is perfectly fine. Pending icon we don't require. Go to the values tab. In values, we are going to set Arial 10 bold and a white color. Fine. And in the background, we need to select the color. Yes, so all the values are coming fine as per the requirement. So this is our device type drop down, and to save time, we just need to replicate this and update the values of this drop down as per the website traffic source. So for that, we need to select our source lookup dimension table, and we need to select website traffic sources, eliminate this device type, perfectly fine, and then we need to update the title of this drop down as well. Go to the slicer header, and in the slicer header, select the source type. Okay, and yes, we are good to go ahead. Now we have successfully designed two drop downs into this report, and we will use the drop down to filter the values pertaining or present in the chart. So if we want to filter the values pertaining to different website traffic sources, let's suppose we want to analyze how much traffic is coming organically, and we need to analyze the values. So we can just study on the basis of this organic traffic. So website traffic sources we have selected as organic, and now you can see that bounce rate for by website traffic sources 5.43, bounce rate on the basis of device types. So these device types are present, but they are reflecting the values on the basis of individual website traffic source, that is organic traffic. So the bounce rate for desktop is 8.33, but for organic traffic. Similarly, the bounce rate by content segment. So when the traffic is organic, then the bounce rate for travel and tourism content segment is 8.82%. Similarly, when traffic is organic, the bounce rate for personal content segment is 3.85. When the website traffic source is organic, then the bounce rate for browser ER4 is 6.12%. So in this manner, we can understand the usage of these drop downs. You can also play around with different values and research like how the values get changed once we select a specific value from these drop downs. So this is all about the drop downs that we have added in this report. Next, what we are going to do, we will start designing our trend-based report. So the next report that we are going to create is based on website traffic trend over time. So we are going to showcase the trend for bounce rates, monthly trend for bounce rates, daily trend for bounce rates, average session duration trend, total session duration trend on the basis of website traffic sources, different device types. We are going to add these visuals in our report and then perform the respective analysis. So for that, what we need to do, we need to add one more page, and this page will act as a report for our trend-based analysis. Now let me use the same name that we have used earlier. So we will going to finish this. Okay. Now before starting the analysis, what we need to do, we need to change the canvas settings, canvas background, and add the respective template based on this report. So what we need to do, we need to accommodate these settings, canvas settings, type custom, height 800 by 1600. So we need to perform these changes. So under visualization, we need to select format your report page, and in the page information, the name of this report will come because we have updated the name here. Perfectly fine. In canvas setting, we need to select custom, and height should be 800 by 1600, and vertical alignment should be middle. So this is as per the report that we have earlier designed for website traffic by device and sources. We need to replicate the same for trend-based report as well. And in Canvas background, what we need to do? We need to select the respective template for this trend-based report. So this is website traffic trend over time. This is the template. Currently it is not visible because transparency is 100%. We need to make the transparency 0. Now it is appearing, but it is stretching. For that we need to make it as fit. Now the values or the sections for different videos are appearing perfectly fine. We also need to make color as black. Similarly, for wallpaper as well, we need to make the color as black. So I think we are good to go ahead for now. Now the important thing is that we need to understand what is this trend-based analysis. What is this trend-based analysis? So generally, we are going to study what is the overall pattern. Let's suppose take a figure of sales. Let's suppose we are selecting sales of a particular organization. Now, how this particular sales is varying over the specific time period. Let's say over 5 years. So let's say we have selected 2019, 20, 21, 22, 23. So over the 5 years, how the sale is varying or how this sales is changing, we will study this type of pattern through our trend-based analysis reports. So this is very integral part of our project. By studying overall trend, we will identify that whether our sales moving in the right direction or whether our sales are decreasing or increasing. So we will study this type of pattern using trend-based analysis. And if in case our sales are decreasing over the years, then we can take specific measures as well to improve our sales. So this type of trend-based analysis is very important for our projects. So what we're going to do, we will add different visuals to study overall website traffic, as well as we will study total session duration. We are also going to study bounce rate trend. So these parameters we are going to study in this trend-based analytical report. Now what we need to do, let me go to this design layout, and before that design layout, let me explain different type of metrics that we are going to analyze using this trend-based report. So the first metric that we will going to analyze based on total session duration trend for device types, total session duration trend for website traffic source. Then we will also study average session duration trend. We will study bounce rate, monthly and daily trend. So these are some of the metrics that we are going to study using this trend-based report. And if I can show you, so we are creating this website traffic trend over time, this report currently. So now let me add the visual. So the first visual, as you can see from our design layout, is total session duration trend for device type. This visual we are going to add, and here we are going to add the area chart. So this area chart we are going to add, and then we will update the properties respectively. So here we are going to add the area chart. Area chart we are going to add, and let me stretch it as per the dedicated section for this visual. And now we are going to add the value. So total session duration, you know that this is our measure. So we will place this measure in y-axis. Okay, and as we are going to study quarter-wise trend, so what we are going to do, we will select year and then quarter, that is. So in this manner we are going to study the trend. And now what we need to do, we need to select, because on the basis of, because here we are studying on the basis of device types. So what we need to do is to we will take our this device lookup dimension table and select the. Okay. Currently the values for these devices are added in legend. So you can see here there are different lines based on device types. For desktop there is a different line, for laptop also there is a different, or in other words I can say on the basis of different devices these particular lines are appearing. But to perform overall study, it is very difficult to separate out because you can see there is very much overlapping things happening here. So to avoid that, what we need to do, we need to just pull this device type from legend well, we need to put this into small multiples well. So here, if we will change this, you can see all the different device types trend get separated out and we will study the trend easily from this when we will add this device type under this small multiples well. So now you can see that we are the figures are pretty much visible to us and we can study the trend overall trend very easily. Next task is to accommodate the properties of this. So what we need to do, we need to adjust the properties of this visual or the area chart. So for that we will going to take the reference of this design layout. So x-axis value serial, date and row and in small multiples. Let me show them. So now select this format your visual icon and in the x-axis you need to select serial, row and color should be white. Area row, date, row, okay. And we change first or make the transparency as 100%. Okay, now the things will make more sense because we are selecting white color, then only you are able to see this white color figures on the x-axis because we have made the transparency of this visual as 100% as per the design layout sheet. Okay, and title you need, okay, and x-axis is perfectly fine. Y-axis we don't need anything, nothing is required on y-axis, fine. In the y-axis nothing is required. So this then because we have added this device type under this small multiples well. Now what we need to do, we need to adjust the property from this small multiples pane only. So under this section we have rows, columns and all padding. So these are rows, these are rows. This is first row, this is second row, and there is one more row. These are columns. First column and this is second. Okay, so now we need to adjust the properties to depict all the respective device types in the same visual view. And I want this the sidebar to get eliminated. That is why I will try to increase the rows. Okay, so the sidebar is now not visible because I have increased the number of rows. So this is first, this is second, this is third. So all three rows are appearing here and two columns. So now it is looking fine. And in padding we will close it to 0. I don't need any padding. Okay, and title I need. So title should be of serial, bold and of white color. So all the titles will appear here. Deadline is not required. Let me check which all properties. So the padding we have to set it to 0, border all grade 1. Okay, need to add border as well. And title Arial 8 rows, line fine. Need to add border as well. Yes. Collapse these things. We need to add the border as well. So let me add horizontal and vertical border only. Okay, and color should be of white color. Define. Width is okay. It is fine now. So small multiple things because we have added device type here. So we have adjusted property like 3 rows, 2 columns, and the border that is visible along horizontal and vertical. This is perfectly fine. Next, moving on to the other properties. So now we need to adjust the line style solid, 2 pixel width, line type smooth, and select the line color as well. So lines, so with 2 pixel we need to select yes, and let's move. Okay, and join type let's keep as it is, lifestyle let's keep as it is, colors we need to put the hex code that is mentioned inside the design layout sheet. Shade area we need to keep at 40%. Okay, that's perfectly fine. Lines we have done. Now let's on the markers. The markers, I think the 3 pixel white color in circle. 3 pixel color should be white. Okay. So markers we have already done. Now the data labels, and the value should be Arial, weight, goal, and let me check if everything is looking fine. Okay. Title we need to add. This should be the title. It should be 11. Gold color should be white, and it should be Arial. Left. Title is also fine now. Okay, and one more thing that we can do, we can increase the decimal places to 1. I think now the values are looking fine. We have increased the decimal places. Okay, now the values are looking fine. So we have designed this particular visual, and we have added, let me collapse this all again. And now you can see from this visual, if you want to study the overall trend for different device types pertaining to session duration, we can see this particular visual. So here, we on the x-axis we have the time period mentioned. So we have different quarters for 2020 here, different quarters for 2020 here, and similar thing replicated here as well. And if we were going to study data for individual device type, let's take the case for desktop. So the session duration trend was rising earlier, then it fell, then it again increased, and then decreased in the last quarter. Similarly, if we take the case of, let's suppose, tablet, so it was decreasing, then increasing, so there was no specific trend for tablet. Let's take the case for laptop. So for laptop, initially the trend was decreasing, then it again increased, then again decreased, and then it again increased. So we can understand from this particular visual that there was no specific trend for any of the device types. For some of the device types like mobile and other, the trend was pretty much flat. But for desktop, laptop, tablet, there was no specific trend. In some quarters it was rising, and in other quarters it was falling. So there was no specific trend. So we can mention these things, this type of analysis into our data analytical report after studying this visual. Why I am emphasizing each and every aspect of this visual? Because this type of analysis we are going to add in our analytical report, and we need to present that analytical report to our end user, or in other words, our top management. Now the next visual that we are going to add is, let me open this design layout sheet. We are going to add again the same type of visual, but we need to showcase the trend for website traffic source. So currently we are studying the trend for different device types. Now we need to study the trend for website traffic source. So to save time, you are aware that what we need to do, we need to just copy paste this, because it is same type of visual, everything is same, just the data is different. So what we need to do, in place of this device type under a small multiple, well, we need to add first we need to select our source lookup table and add this website traffic source and eliminate this device. Okay, and other thing that we need to change is color and the title. So first let me change the title. Go to this general tab, title. Okay, this is fine, and color should we can pick from here. So this is a hex code of color. Just go here in the visual under the lines, go to the colors. Okay, So your visual is ready in under like 5 seconds. First, we have copy pasted the visual and changed the content as per the requirement. Now we need to understand our data that is reflecting inside this visual. So first, we will take the case of paid traffic source. It means we have done certain paid campaign. So paid traffic, we will study the paid traffic trend. So earlier the session duration was increasing, but later on it flattened out, and then the session duration was decreasing when the website traffic source was paid. So we need to mention this study into our analytical report. Similarly, we take the case of the campaign that we had run on social media. So the session duration was first decreasing, then it increased, then it suddenly fell, and from 20 quarter one of 2021, the session duration was keep on increasing. So this is a good thing. We can mention this also into our analytical report. So social media traffic, we can mention this. Similarly, if the website traffic source is organic, it means no paid can nothing we had run on social media. So for organic traffic, earlier session duration was decreasing, but later on it increased. It again fell from 2021 quarter 1 to 2021 quarter 2, but from quarter 2 of 2021 it was increased. So we can mention all this analysis for our organic website traffic. So in this way, we need to summarize our analysis pertaining to different website traffic sources so that our customer will be aware like what is happening when they were running different campaigns. So what was the output of those campaigns? Whether their campaigns were successful, whether their campaigns were not successful, whether they were able to attract the traffic after running the campaigns. These things our management or our customer must be aware of. So this type of analysis is very fruitful just to showcase that particular aspect. So I hope you are able to understand that why these type of analysis like trend for website traffic sources or trend for device types is essential. Now we are going to add the next visual. So the next visual is average session duration, overall trend. Here we just need to showcase the overall trend, but we need to replicate this perfectly fine, and there is no requirement of this website traffic source under small multiples. We need to do this, and in place of total session duration, what we need to do, we need to replace it with average session. Okay, and in this total session duration, collapse this data in, and next what we need to do, we need to update the color as per this. Okay, and here scope it we need to maintain as 3 pixel and size of marker should be a 5 pixel. This thing we need to update. Its marker size should be 5 pixel, line should be a 3 pixel, and this solid line style is solid only. A data level serial line bold, label. Let's change the color of this line. Okay, and one important thing that we need to update is you can see here, here it is coming as quarter for 2021, then some quarters of 2020, then some quarters for 2021, and then quarter for 20. Because the sorting of data is based on this data value. These data values, the sorting is happening on the basis of that. That is why the data is appearing like this. We need to change this. Also, we need to increase the decimal places because all values are appearing as 0.2. We need to increase the decimal places but to differentiate the values appearing on this. So let's go on these two activities. Now first, we need to go to this data labels, and under the value we will increase the value decimal. So we will need to increase the value decimal places. The first key place is the decimal, and now the individual values that get separated out. Then we need to perform this. So currently the sort axis is based on average session duration. That is why the average the quarter for which average session duration is highest is appearing first, and the quarter where the average session duration is lowest is appearing in the last position. Not, but we are here, we need to sort on the basis of year and quarter. Okay, and now is coming, it has sorted in descending order, which means that 2021 quarters are appearing before 2020 quarters. So what we need to do is to sort this. Okay, now 2020 quarters are appearing before the 2021 quarter. Is not fine, data is coming perfectly fine. We need to update the title as well. So the title, general tab, title, update the title here. Okay, we are good to go ahead. Yes, we are good to go ahead. All the properties we have updated. So as you can see from this chart, the average session duration for 2 years. The average session duration, this is a trend for average session duration, and the average session duration was first decreased severely in 2020 quarter two, then it increased sharply for quarter two of 2020, then it remains almost flat, but for quarter one of 2021 it again fell. But from quarter one of 2021 it was rising in a continuous manner, and this is a very good sign because average session duration was also decreasing. So this is very good sign. We need to highlight this factor in our analytical report that average session duration was increasing, keep on increasing from quarter one of 2021, and it means that overall in 2021 average session duration was increasing. It's a positive sign, good sign. We need to mention this point. So this is our overall analysis for average session duration. Now let's jump on to our design layout sheet and add the other chart. So now we need to add the chart based on bounce rate, and we need to study bounce rate and monthly trend, and we need to study monthly trend of bounce rate and daily trend of bounce rate. So we will follow the funda of usability, and we need to just copy paste this and accommodate this here. Now, so for this, as we are studying the monthly trend, so in place of year and quarter, we need to select a number. We need to use this year and quarter. Okay, use the trend, and one more thing here, we need to make sure that the line is free and the markers are done. And okay, and here we need to study the bounce rate, not this average session duration. So what we need to do from measures section, we need to pull the bounce rate here in place of average. This is the bounce rate coming. Now the bounce rate figures are coming here, but they are sorted on the basis of like highest bounce rate figure is appearing first and the lowest bounce rate figure is appearing in the last, no matter of a month order. So what we need to do, we need to sort the axis on the basis of monthly and sort on the basis. But the values are coming as August, December, Feb, Jan. This is not perfect. This is not in line to what is our expectation. So what we need to do, we need to update these values. We need to update the order of the values like January, February, March. So for that, what we need to do, we need to select, first we need to table view, we need to select month name, and here you can see sort by column. This particular icon here, sort by column. So month name should be sorted on the basis of month number, because if we will keep this month name sorted as it is, so what will happen, like the months that are starting from A will come first, but we need to make sure we will perform the sorting on the basis of month number only. Then what will happen? January will come first, then February and March, that particular order get followed. So here, you can see here, the values are now coming here, Jan, Feb, March, January. The order is automatically rectified. Now this particular value is not appearing for February month. So what we need to do, we need to go here under this general section. We need under this visual section, we need to increase the size of this font. Okay, now the values are coming fine. We need to increase the size and increase it to 9 so that it will be visible perfect. So all the months are coming in perfect order because now we have sorted the month name on the basis of month number. There is one more method on the basis, or I can say one other approach also by which we can update this month name on the basis of month number. You can go to this model view, and in this model view, when we select our date lookup table, this is our date lookup table, and select the month name. So under the advanced section, we can also sort by column here. So we can perform sorting on the basis of number from here as well. So this is other approach, and the approach that we have followed, we have changed the sorting on the basis of month number here from the table view. So these are the two approaches. Either you can follow. Either you can use this sort by column, or in the model view, you can use this sort by column. Both approaches are. So this is we need to update the rest of the properties for the visual as well, but update the so for title, so the general, update the titles. I know we are following. Okay, so everywhere we are following font size is 12. We need to update this. It should be 11. Everywhere it should be 11 only. Because we are populating the things, that is why everywhere it is coming as 12. We need to decrease the size to 11 and here also. Okay, and now the color we need to update the color, and for color, let us format your visual lines. Here the color section is there, no color, then for this and the color section is our bounce rate monthly trend. So if we will study the overall trend, so for first 3 months the bounce rate was increasing. For first 3 months the bounce rate was increasing, so that was not a good sign. But from April onwards, or from April onwards, the bounce rate was decreasing till the July month. But from July to September, it again increased. But from September onwards, September, October, November, December, although there was a slight spike, but the overall trend was good, it was decreasing, and decreased bounce rate is a good sign for us because we always want that bounce rate of our website session to be as less as possible. Here, bounce rate was decreasing, so that's a good sign. So we need to mention this analysis into our analytical. So we need to just copy paste this to study the daily trend as well. Here we need to in place of monthly trend, we are going to study the daily trend. So for that, in place of monthly, we need okay and fine. Bounce rate is fine here. So the default sorting is happening on the basis of bounce rate. We need to change this. Select the sort axis, select the day, and it should be, but the values are coming like this: Friday, Monday, Saturday. So we need to update the sort order of this. Currently it is sorting alphabetically, but we need to make sure we need to change this alphabetical sorting to the to specific weekday sorting, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weekday sorting. We need to change that rather than alphabetical sort. We need to sort on the basis of weekday. Similar exercise we are going to follow. Go to this model view, select this day column, there is a sort by column, select weekday. Now we will come to the visual, and then we get the perfect sorting. Okay, and now update the rest of the properties. First update this title, the gender type title, we will take this thing, the these, these are the only changes that are required. So visual section in the lines imported. Okay, fine. Now we will perform some analysis over daily trend. Here, bounce rate was increasing for 3 days, like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday it was decreasing. That was a very good sign. But from Tuesday onwards, it kept on increasing till Thursday. And after Thursday, it again fell. So that was a good sign. So we need to study why for 3 days, like Tuesday, Wednesday, from Tuesday onwards, why it increased, what was the reason of increase of this bounce rate, and we need to perform that analysis and we need to mention that analysis in the analytical. So this is all about bounce rate trend and bounce rate increase. Now, what we are going to do, we are going to perform the testing of the data. We need to perform the verification of this data using SQL. Now we will start the data verification. So we will pick our first visual, and we have query already written for this visual. Let me open the MySQL workbench, and this is the MySQL workbench, and we have already written the query for this visual, that is total session duration, and we are analyzing trend for device types. Now here, let me explain you this query first before we will match the output. So here we are taking two tables. First is our fact table. This is our fact table, and device lookup is our dimension table. It is as simple as that. And we are establishing the relationship. We are establishing the relationship. And the important thing here is why we are using this device lookup dimension table, because we need to analyze the trend based on device type. So we have picked the device type column from this device lookup table. And now the next thing that is very important is that we have to, as we have to analyze trend, we need a date column. And we are going to use website traffic data fact table only to pick our date column, because we are not going to create a separate date table or date dimension table as we have created in Power BI just to save time. I'm going to use the same date column that is present in website traffic data, and because that date column is of text type, or in other words string type, that is why we need to use string to date function to transform that column to date, and the format that is required is month slash day slash year. So we are going to follow this particular format, and we are using year function to extract the year and quarter function to extract the quarter from this date. So I hope I am able to explain this. Next, as we are going to analyze the trend for session duration, and we are going to aggregate this session duration to identify the total session duration and divided it by 3600 to calculate the figure in hours. So this is all about the query. Query is pretty much straightforward. So if I can show you here, this is our website traffic data, and this is our date key, and date key column is of, you can see here, it is of text type. So that is why we have used the string to date function. Now when we will run this query, pull it here. When we run this query, so for 2020 quarter one, text of the figure is coming as 2.63. So let me verify it here. The value is coming as 2.6. So it is at one decimal place. So for, let's suppose I will take the random figures for 2021 first quarter, laptop the figure is 2.8, 2.9 it will come, because it will round 8 to 9 because the 5 is here. So the figure will arrive as 2.9 and we need to check 2.9 figure for year 2021 quarter 1 for laptop. So year 2021, first go to laptop, year 2021 quarter 1. So this figure it is coming as 2.9. So we have successfully verified. Now we can take the case of tablet. Let's suppose for tablet 2020 quarter 1 figure is 4.4. So let's verify that as well. 2020 tablet quarter 1 figure is 4.4. So this is fine. The figure is perfectly fine. So I think data is coming correct for this. You can also cross verify the other figures as well. So this is the query for analyzing session duration based on or analyzing the trend of session duration based on device type. Next we will analyze the trend for session duration based on website traffic source. Next we are going to verify the figures or the data for total session duration trend for website traffic source. The query is already written for this. To show you that query. So this is the query for trend for analyzing the trend of total session duration based on website traffic source. So here in this query is exact the replica of the previous query that we had discussed. The only thing is that in place of device type, we are picking the source type. It means website traffic sources. So we are just changing this particular column, and this column we are picking from source lookup or source dimension table. So that is the only change. So the code change that I have performed here in the join part is the dimension table, and here on picking the column. Rest everything is fine, everything is same, and the same logic we had used here because date key column is of text type. We use string to date function, and we actually change it to month, date, and year format, and then extract the year from this date. And similarly, we had extracted the quarter from this date. We followed this particular thing. Let me run this query, and when we run this query, it's the output. Let me start verifying the output. So first, for 2020 first quarter email, it is coming as 2.5, rounding to one places. That is why it will change it to 2.5. So quarter 1 of 2020, it is coming as 2.5 only. Let me check for social as well. So for social 2020 quarter 1 value is coming as 2.3. So for social, it is, check again. Okay, social it is coming as 3.9. 2020 quarter 1 figure 3.9, and the figure is 3.9. For referral 2020 quarter 2 figure is 1.31. 2020 quarter 2 figure is 1.3. Is coming fine. So the data is pretty much like okay. It is coming perfectly fine. Next we will verify the data for average session duration as well. So for average session duration for 2020 quarter 1, so let me show you the query for this. So I have already written this query. So this query is pretty much simple. In this query, what we are doing, we are taking only one table, that is fact table, because session duration is present in fact table and date key column also present in the fact table itself. That is why we are not doing on other tables. And same logic, we are extracting year and quarter by transforming this date key column to date, and we are extracting year and quarter. Similarly, we are doing average of session duration to identify the average session duration trend. Then we are performing the group by order the data. To run this, so for 2020 quarter 1, it is coming as 0.189. 2020 quarter 1, it is coming as 0.189. Okay. Here it is coming as 0.172. It is coming as 0.172. For 2020 quarter 3, it is coming at 0.190. Coming as 0.190. So the data is coming pretty much okay. Here for quarter 4, it is coming at 0.189. 0.189. 2021 quarter 1, it is coming as 0.177. So it should come at 0.178. So it is coming as 0.178. Let me tell you why the figure for quarter one is coming as 0.190, because 0.1897, because the value is 0.1897, and if we will round it, it will coming as 0.89 will be rounded to 0.190. That is why data is reflecting like this there. So I think data is pretty much fine. Data is coming perfectly fine for our report. So let's jump on to the other visuals and verify the data for them as well. Bounce rate, monthly trend, and daily trend. Let's verify the data for our bounce rate, monthly trend first. So this already written the query here. Let me zoom it a bit. Now, when we were discussing the queries for bounce rate pertaining to different device types, website traffic sources, we were discussing that for calculating the bounce rate, we need bounce sessions divided by total sessions to calculate the bounce rate. And we had also discussed that we need this CTE for calculating the total sessions. So here as well, what we are doing, we have written this CTE to calculate the total sessions. And in this CTE, as you can see here, we are using website traffic data fact table, and what we are doing, we are extracting the month name from the date key column. As because date key is in text format, we are using string to date to convert it into date format and then picking the month name from this particular date. So this activity we are performing, also we are counting the sessions. We are counting the sessions. So it means we are performing the total sessions activity month wise from this CTE, and this CTE is must because it will provide us denominator value. It will provide us denominator. Now let's come to the main query. In the main query, what we are doing, we are using our fact table and we are joining this fact table with the CTE. Why we are joining it with CTE? Because we need to pick this total count, this denominator figure from the CTE, and we are joining it on the basis of month name. We are joining it on the basis of month name column. So as you can see, we are joining it on the basis of month name here. And what we are doing, the important thing is we are picking only bounce sessions. So here from the main query, we are picking the bounce sessions. As you can see here, bounce sessions are those sessions where page views per session is less than 2. It means whenever the number of pages viewed per session is less than 2, we will consider that session as bounce session, and we need to count those sessions. So we are counting those bounce sessions from this particular aggregation. And also we are doing, as because we need to identify the ratio, we are just dividing the total value. We are just dividing this bounce session from this total value and multiplying it by 100 to calculate the bounce rate. So this logic we are following here, and we are calculating this bounce rate from the basis of months. That is why we have mentioned months. And as you were aware that during the Power BI we have sorted the data on the basis of month number. Here also we need to perform sorting on the basis of month number, similar to Power BI. So we are performing that activity here in order by. So this is the whole query. I hope I'm able to explain this. Next we need to run this. So once you will run this, the data will come and need to just cross verify the data. So for January month it is 6.451. The value is coming, bounce rate is 6.451. So for January month it is coming 6.452, and 452 is coming because 6 is greater than 5, so it actually changed 1 to 2. So 6.452, that is fine. Similarly for February it is 12.28. See, 12.28 I think it will come as 12.281 because 7 is here, so it will come as 12.281 for February. For February, it will come as 12.281. That is perfectly fine. Similarly, for December, the value is 4.839. Let's see for December, it is coming as 4.839. So it is perfectly fine. Data is coming fine. So in this way, we have verified the data for bounce rate pertaining to monthly trend. Similarly, we will need to analyze or verify the data for daily trend, for bounce rate daily trend as well. Now we need to analyze the data for bounce rate daily trend as well. So for this, we have already written our query, and the structure of this query is pretty much similar to the query that we had just discussed. So in place of month name, we have to mention day name here, and as you are aware, the CTE we are writing just to calculate the total sessions. So here we are calculating total sessions day wise, total sessions day wise, because we have mentioned day name here. And in the main query, we are referencing this CTE by using the inner join, and we are extracting the total sessions from the CTE and putting that value into our denominator. We are using max function just to avoid writing this denominator figure, because we are not using any aggregate function. If we will not use any aggregate function, we need to mention this denominator into our group by clause. Just to avoid that, we are mentioning max here. Otherwise, there is no purpose of mentioning max. Now we are using this clause website, this page view per session less than 2 to calculate the bounce session, and we are counting those bounce session and putting the figure into numerator. So numerator, we are calculating this. Denominator, we have calculated earlier in CTE, put that figure into denominator. Day name, same thing, we are calculating, because we are calculating bounce rate on the basis of day wise. That is why I mentioned day name. And one more thing, we have mentioned weekday here in the order by clause, because we need to sort that figure not on the basis of alphabetically like Sunday, Monday, but we need to sort it on the basis of order of days like 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. So that is why we have mentioned weekday here. Now let's run this query, see the output. This is the output. As you can see, for Monday it is coming as 6.7. Let's 6.730 or 6.731 will come for Monday. Let's see. Monday it is coming as 6.731. For Saturday it is coming as 7.692. Saturday it is coming as 7.692. Sunday it is coming as 17.30. 17.30. Sunday it is coming 17.30. And one more thing that we need to check here is, like, sorting in Power BI is slightly different. It is taking Sunday as the first day, and in MySQL query it is taking Monday as the first day. So that is not like the much factor to worry. The only thing is we need to verify the data on the basis of the days. So Monday, the values are matching. For Tuesday also, for the rest of the days, values are matching. That is pretty much fine. Fine. Ordering doesn't matter. The only thing is the values should not arrive alphabetically. Like Monday, like Friday will come first, and then the value for Monday is coming. That is wrong. Otherwise, sequencing, if it is taking Monday as the first day, that is also fine. If it is taking Sunday, that is also fine. There is no issue. So this is the analysis, or this is the verification of data pertaining to bounce rate daily. So for all the visuals, data is appearing fine.